Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly Jones Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute pendant. It's made using a drilled stone or a large bead, so we've got a hole from the top to the bottom. Put a list in the description below of everything you'll need to make this, along with all the usual links, Facebook and Instagram, along with links to my Etsy shop as well, where I sell all my written tutorials. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, that's 20 gauge, and I've cut two lengths at 9 inches, that's 23 centimetres. You'll need weaving wire, mine's 0.315mm, that's 28 gauge. You can go a step up or down on these gauges and it'll all work out just fine. And you'll need about 100 centimetres. Wound mine onto a bobbin. If you don't have a bobbin, then don't worry, you can just cut lengths as you go. That's a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. You'll need a drilled stone today. Now this can either be a large bead drilled from the top to the bottom, or a drill cab like this, so anything at all, any shape, any size, as long as it's drilled from the top to the bottom. So a large bead would be fine. Tools, I've got my pliers, my round nose pliers, my cutters. I've put a list of all the tools that I use in the description below if anyone wants to have a look. Let's get started. We're going to start 4 inches from the beginning of your wire, 10 centimetres. So take your weaving wire and we'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. I always find that my weaving wire tends to slide along the wires a little bit, so as you're working, measure the beginning of the wires and make sure you've still got that 4 inches. So we'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom just to attach, and then we'll go over the top and up between the 2 wires, and then over the top, so we've wrapped around the top wire, and then under and around the bottom wire. So we go around the both wires, coming up in between, over the top wire, under the bottom, so we're wrapping around both wires. Then we're going around the top wire, then around the bottom wire. So I've done about 1 inch of that weave, that's 2.5 centimetres. I'm going to cut that tail end off from the beginning. I'm going to finish this end with a few more wraps around that bottom wire. So now we're going to put a bend in this. This will make the bail at the top. So I'm just putting a bend in that weave. You can use bail pliers if you've got them. Or you can use your round nose pliers just to tidy it up. So we have a loop, a woven loop there at the top. And I've bent all the wires together here at the bottom. So then where your wires meet, you want to go around the whole thing just a couple of times just to hold it together. And then we've got 2 back wires and 2 front wires. So I'm just going to wrap around one of those back wires a few times. so it's all held together at the top there. So now we're going to take the 2 back wires, we're going to bend them to the back. We're going to take one of the front wires and keep that facing down, and we're going to take the other front wire, so take one of your front wires and bend that to the back too. So you've got 3 wires going to the back and 1 wire coming straight down, and the one that's coming straight down we're going to pop our bead onto. Now you want to adjust your bail so that it sits upright and tidy at the top there, and the other wires go to the back. If you're using a heart shaped stone like me, then you need to really pull these wires up at the back so that the bail sits nicely inside the little peak at the top there. So you need to push it down there as far as possible. And then these wires at the back, holding onto your bottom wire so you're holding it all in place. The wires at the back now need to come down the back of the stone. I'm going to bend that at the bottom just to try and keep it a bit more stable. So I'm holding the bail at the top and I'm bending the back wires over the back of the stone there. I'm going to cut that weaving wire at the top. I'm going to take this wire that comes down the bottom. I'm going to pull it to the side. And I'm going to wrap all the way around the 3 wires that have come down the back. So I've gone all the way around, and now I'm going to cut it so it finishes at the back. So I just want to let you know I've just finished a written tutorial for this lovely pendant here. It's 2 stones, coiled coils. It's a frame pendant, so it works off a frame. It's all written quite simply actually. I've taken it step by step, and if you want to give it a go, if you fancy a challenge, pop on over to my shop, or if you just want to help me out with what I'm doing here on YouTube, you could pop on over and buy a few little tutorials. I have reduced them all down, and I am having a sale at the moment. So get yourself on over if you want to just have a quick look. Thanks everybody. Bye. I'm just going to give it a little squeeze so it holds it all in place. I just squeeze that with my pliers if I went off screen then. Now weaving across these 3 wires, take your weaving wire and we'll wrap 3 times around the middle wire. And push that right the way down. So we'll go around, so we'll wrap around the bottom 2 twice, come up between those 2, wrap around the middle wire twice, and we wrap around the top 2 wires twice. We go around the middle wire again, so coming up between the bottom 2, and then you go around the bottom 2, so it's bottom 2 twice, middle 1 twice, top 2 twice, middle one twice. So I've just done a little bit of that weave, and I'm going to bend my wires over the front of the stone, and I've purposefully pushed all my wires over to the left. I'm going to do a little bit more of that weave. I'll probably just do another repeat. So you're in this position, you've got this a few repeats holding all your wires together. Now I'm going to take this right wire and I'm going to scoop it over to the right. I'm going to leave it there for now. So I'm just going to add a few repeats just across these two wires now. So I've gone around the two wires twice, and then I'll go around the bottom wire twice, and I'll do that again. So now I'm going to bend this around to follow that single wire. And at this point I'm going to wrap around, going underneath that bottom wire. I'm just going to go around those two twice just to hold that in place. And at this point I'm going to get this other side wire, I'm going to bend that one around that way, and I'm going to keep adding repeats to this single wire now. Repeats, I mean coils. I'm just coiling this wire. My copper does look a lovely colour under this light. This is just bare raw copper, uncoated, and I always use dead soft, always. So then I'm going to bend this one around to follow that one. And then I'll go around both wires twice. And then I'll keep adding coils to that wire for a bit longer. And when I get to the top there, I'm going to curl this wire around. And as it meets the top there, I'm going to take my weaving wire around that top part so that it's holding it in place there to that bail. And then when I come back to it, keep pulling those coils together. I'm going to go underneath the wire and then I'll go around it again a few more times. And then I'm going to go around the bail again just to secure it a bit more. So I've gone around the bail, I'm pulling it nice and firmly, and then I'll go back underneath that wire. If you keep going around the back when you join back on, it just doesn't make the join so obvious when you look at it from the front, because your wires go around and under the back. And then I'm just going to add a few more coils just to secure all that in place. Push it all together. And then I'm going to cut that weaving wire. Flatten down that end. And I'm going to cut this wire. I'm going to cut this wire. And I'm going to cut this wire. And now I'm going to curl these wires. So with round nose pliers, starting at the very tip, I'm going to bend the tip around into a little curl. And then I'm going to carefully curl that curl around. And I'll do that for the other ones too. And I'll curl this top one. And press it flat. And there we have it. Still needs to be oxidized. Cute little quick pendant for you to make today. Little hyacinth. So thanks for watching as always, and please subscribe if you want to see more free tutorials of mine. And don't forget to hit the notification if you want to know when I upload them. Also I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put the links down below. And I think that's everything. I shall see you all in the next video. Oh, and please mention me, a Kelly Jones Design, when you're sharing your work made from my tutorials. Thanks everybody. See you in the next one. Bye.